All right. A little bit of volume here. Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Lincoln Clay coming back at you with yet another podcast in the same day. Wow, what is going on? You know what to do. Hit the bell icon, hit the like button. The rest will take care of itself. If you're new to the channel, welcome aboard. And so what I want to talk about today is something that I meant to talk about earlier on Live from Wakanda, but it totally slipped my mind because there's actually has been a lot of news this week. Connor, what is up? What's going on? Reclaimer, what's up? I didn't get a chance to talk about this on Live from Wakanda because, like I said, there was so much news this week that I wasn't keeping up with it with my notes, and so as a lot of you know who are big into the PlayStation VR, a lot of you know that Star Blood Arena is going to be shut down, I think, in June, and a few people have tried to let their voice be heard that they don't want Sony to shut this game down. Mr. Pyle, what is up? And so I think it was yesterday or Thursday I learned that yet another PSVR exclusive, PS4 exclusive, is being shut down, and that is Drive Club. What's up, Red Ranger? So the game is going to be delisted from the PlayStation Store on August 31st, 2019, and then March 31st, 2020, they will shut down the servers or discontinue on online support for the game. This is online support. This is VR online support. Now, any part of the game that you purchased in single player, you can still play single player. But yeah, you got that right. Hello, Dawn. How are you? Arian Drake, what's up? That's really a tough one, and that bothers me because there's not a lot of VR multiplayer racing games out there. I mean, there's a ton of racing games on Steam that supports VR, but I don't think any of them works right in VR. Skip Bayless, you said Xbox are mad that MLB The Show is never coming to Xbox. I mean, I've been hearing that lately about, them getting upset about MLB The Show not coming to Xbox, but why are they getting mad now? It's been, I think 2K stopped making baseball games. I think they were the last one. And I think they stopped making baseball games when the 360 died out. So they haven't made, 2K hasn't made any baseball games this generation, not an MLB baseball game. So Sony's the last man standing. With that being said, Xbox have known for years that MLB The Show is a Sony exclusive, and the only way you're going to get to play it is on a PlayStation. And I mean, is that becoming the narrative with the Xbox? Is always crying about these Sony exclusives not coming to the Xbox? That's starting to be a reoccurring theme. The director said they're only making it for the PlayStation, and so people got pissed. Why do people even ask that dumb question? Why do people ask Sony developers, is that game coming to the Xbox when it's a Sony exclusive? PLO, I am speaking of Drive Club. That game is being shut down. And I understand why Sony's going to go ahead and shut it down, but it does bother me because, as I was saying, that I've been searching for another VR racer. I've been searching for a VR racer that has the gameplay and the mechanics and the physics of GT Sport, but the game would be a VR multiplayer. And right now, Drive Club is the only game that fits that criteria. There's a bunch of games over on Steam, as I said, that there's a bunch of racing games on there that supports VR. But I'm led to believe that the VR multiplayer part of it is either doesn't work or it's buggy. And like, for instance, I bought Project Cars 2. There's actually all kinds of issues with that game for me. My Thrustmaster T150 racing wheel does not work on the game. So just to make sure that there was no issues, I bought an Xbox PC controller, which is basically an Xbox One controller that was packaged into a PC box. So single player, Project Cars 2, single player in VR works if I use that Xbox controller. So then from there, I tried to move on and try the VR multiplayer. And the only thing I was able to do was do some warm-up laps to get ready for the race. When the race started, the game shut down. The game crashed. And so I've been watching videos from the bigger YouTubers like Jimmy Broadbent and like Sim 604 Racing, and these are a couple of people that do Project Cars, Assetto Corso, Competizione, however you pronounce it. They stream those games, and they stream it flat screen and in VR. And what I've come to find out is that whenever they stream the game in VR and it's a full race, it's always against the AI. It's never online. So that tells me we're not quite there yet. You know, at least with some of these games, we're not there yet. We got a ways to go. So, you know, you got racing games like Wipeout, which I don't really, it's cool, but it's not a pure racing game to me. It's just, you know, you go over the top of these lighted arrows that's basically turbo launchers, whatever you want to call it. And then all these vehicles have weapons. I want a pure racer. VR multiplayer. And as of right now, Drive Club was the only one that I know of that works like it was supposed to. Now, granted, I'm still supposed to do this on-the-fly impressions of this Drive game that I was telling you guys about. That's what interested me in the game, that is supposed to be VR multiplayer. And as I said before, the developer warned me that the game is still in alpha. So I tried it once, and it's in the version that I got is single player. So the multiplayer is not up and running yet. And I hope that I hope that they can get that working, because now with Drive Club being shut down, you know, that's one VR racing game that's being taken away from me. Yeah, PLO, I don't want that. I don't want that to be the situation. I don't want that to be the situation where we have to wait till next generation to get a pure racing VR game, you know. Racing games, sport games, first-person shooter games, especially in VR, I want to go against live people. I want to go against live competition, because it's always different. OG Red Ranger, you're a professional Halo player. That's what's up. From the way people are describing Space Junkies, they are calling it the Halo of VR. It is a fun game, and I was surprised by how much fun I was having with Space Junkies. I just don't care for that $40 price tag. But I did not get a chance to mention that, because when Craig was on earlier, I didn't want to spend too much time talking about a lot of VR stuff, because I wanted to talk about, you know, the regular gaming news and not spend a terrible amount of time on VR, but it happened anyway. But Space Junkies is getting move support. That was one of the big gripes about that game on the PlayStation VR, that you had to use the DualShock 4, whereas on Oculus and Vive they can use their respective controllers, and people wanted move support on the PlayStation VR. Ubisoft must have been listening, and they're responding quick, because I think maybe I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks, but I know I guess it's part of some updates coming next month. Move support is one of the updates that's supposed to be coming, so that changes things now, because now with the PlayStation version of it getting move support, it really doesn't matter to me what format I get the game on. It doesn't matter to me whether I get it on Oculus or the PlayStation VR. Yeah, they're getting move support now, PLO, but my biggest thing is, what are they going to do? Oh boy, just a minute. Okay, never mind. He cut it now. The messed up thing about the Move controllers is it doesn't have thumbsticks, and that could still be an issue. But I think it'll still be better than the DualShock 4. But coming back to VR racers, online support for some of these VR racing games. Losing Drive Club is I don't know. It's going to sting, but by the time it shuts down, it's supposed to shut down March 31st, 2020. If the PlayStation 5 isn't already out by then, I'd like to think we'll have a certain date by then, and I would like to think that we'll have more information about the next generation of VR then as well. Because I'm willing to bet you that GT Sport, whatever they call it when it comes out, I'm willing to bet that's going to be a launch title for PlayStation VR 2, which would make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Mr. Pyle, thoughts on Xbox people saying MLB should be on all platforms since streaming is here? I mean, what the fuck is wrong with them? They went from shooting their mouth off that they have the better platform. They have the world's most powerful console. They screaming that they have the better games. They went from all of that to now they're basically demanding that Sony hands over their entire library. What the fuck is wrong with them? I mean, this is becoming a narrative now. They acting like fucking SJWs, and Sony's the chauvinist male because they're hanging on to their own games. What the fuck is wrong with them? Take a drink of ice cold ginger ale and guava juice. You say SJW is also crap as well. I mean, to me, it almost seems like, all this, Sony being anti-consumer and wanting all their games to come over to the Xbox, it sounds more like a protest, and I blame Phil Spencer, big Rubik's Cube head ass, for this shit, because he's the one that started all this noise. And the Xbox let go of it for a minute, but now they're screaming for it again. And I think I think their biggest reason why they started crying about wanting the Sony games coming over to all platforms is because they lost all of their games. They no longer have any more games that they can say is an Xbox exclusives. They have nothing. They have no games that they can call their own. And in my opinion, the console is going to be irrelevant. the next generation of those consoles are going to be irrelevant. You know, and even if Sony was willing to let games like God of War or Spider-Man or something like that go to all platforms, Entertainment Wizard, what is up? What will they do when Sony comes out with AAA blockbuster VR games? Are they going to scream that Sony should let those go to all platforms? I mean, what the fuck are they going to do? How are they going to play that with no VR over on the Xbox? Oh, I get it. They'll probably start screaming that the Sony should also let the PlayStation VR headset connect to the Xbox. I mean, there's no end with them. They constantly crying about shit. Some days I don't even think about them. Entertainment Wizard, you said not much. Just got a huge game order in the mail and playing more VR. Hey, that's what I want to hear. Entertainment Wizard, support that VR. Help the growth of this. They actually say that they want PSVR on Xbox. It would be another option that will never be exercised. I mean, how are you asking for everybody else's shit when you didn't support your own? I mean, what are you doing? You basically asking for Sony to send their games over to the Xbox to die. That's all that's going to happen over there. A couple of people are going to buy a few of those Sony games, but for the most part, they're going to die because the Xbox don't buy shit. Skip Bayless, did you get MLB The Show? Yes, I did. I bought it. I pre-ordered it a couple of days before so I could make sure that it would unlock at midnight. I do have MLB The Show. However, I have not played it because I have been entrenched in these VR games. Let me put it to you this way, Skip Bayless, and everybody else who's listening. And I've said this before because this is my wish list. When MLB The Show becomes fully playable in VR, when games like Madden become fully playable in VR, we're already here as far as first-person shooter games. We got them. Now we just need those big AAA titles like a Battlefield or Call of Duty or Rainbow Six. Once we get those kind of games fully playable in VR, games like Ace Combat 7, when we get a game like that that's fully playable in VR, not a VR mode, fully playable, as well as an online multiplayer mode for Ace Combat 6. There's already some games like that out there on Steam, but it looked like some $2 budget shit, you know. When we get all those kind of games that are fully playable in VR, I won't be going back to flat screen games. I will be 110% VR. Yeah, PLO, Battlefield and VR, you know, and I just, the PlayStation guys rule, Xbox guys suck. All right, got you. I got you, EJ Johnson. But getting back to this Drive Club thing, I'm really disappointed that they're taking that game away. But at the same time, I can understand it because when the PlayStation VR launched, you know, that $500 price tag was pretty pricey. I'm not going to lie. And then if you're trying this for the first time, half of the games made you sick. Because I'm not going to lie, you know, the first time I tried PlayStation VR, the game that made me sick the most was Riggs. That game absolutely like had me damn near to the point where I was about to throw up. That made me sick the most. The game that made me sick second was Drive Club. Because I'm looking at this VR headset and I see that I'm going 200 miles an hour, but yet my feet was still, planted firmly on the floor, and I'm moving my feet around trying to step on the gas pedals and shit like that inside virtual reality. And that shit was fucking me all up. So, and then when cars was going up and down hills at 200 miles an hour and shit like that, that was really fucking with me. So Drive Club made me sick. Resident Evil made me sick, and so did Batman. That made me sick. The teleportations, was the first time I seen that kind of shit with the teleportations. That was making me sick. And then in the case of Resident Evil, it was the quick turns. That was making me sick. So, Red Ranger, you said Xbox is here to stay. As a brand, yes, they are going nowhere. As a brand, as a hardware, as a console maker, nah. They after next generation, that's it. What else? What else made me sick? On the PlayStation VR worlds, there was little moments here and there where I got sick. The ocean depths made me a little bit sick. There was like a luge game where you're like on these street luges going down a hill and you're trying to avoid getting hit by cars and shit like that. That game made me a little bit sick. So my point being is that, all those games were making me sick. And that was the heavy criticism about the PlayStation VR when it first launched, is all those games was making people sick. And I'm not going to lie, those games made me so sick. You had a combination, in my case, you had a combination of my son not playing this $500 VR headset that he wanted so bad that he, begged me if he could have it, and I got it for him for Christmas and everything. And he wasn't playing it, and I didn't want the thing to go to waste, so I tried to give it a shot, and all those games made me sick. So I was about to sell it, but again, I probably say two things made me hang on to it. And one of them was discovering PSVR Frank, saying, the media wants this thing to fail. Stick with it. The games are going to come. This is going to flourish, and he was right. And the other thing that made me stick with it was I found videos of people, telling you how you can alleviate the motion sickness by drinking ginger ale, eating ginger root, eating candy, sitting down while you're playing the game, all kinds of stuff. So all that following all that advice got me by until I got my VR legs under me. And I'm not going to lie, Riggs still makes me feel funny to this day. So I don't really mess with Riggs. Joystick Guru, what is up? What's good with you? You said the PlayStation community is so toxic. I beg to differ on that one, Red Ranger, because most of them are already playing their games. I think I think a lot of them are too wrapped up playing their games. You don't hear a bunch of, you don't hear a bunch of PlayStation people kicking down Microsoft's door saying that you should let Gears of War come over to the PlayStation, or you should let it come to all platforms because it's anti-consumer. You don't hear about PlayStation people doing that. It's all the Xbox people doing the crying. So who's the toxic people here? Excuse me. Yeah, PlayStation and Nintendo dudes play and support their games. Hell, I'm even curious about I'm even curious about that Nintendo VR, only because I think Super Smash Brothers is supposed to be one of the playable games on that Nintendo VR. So I'm curious about that. Other than that, I wouldn't give it a second look. But I'm glad that they have ventured into VR to help the growth of it. Because again, I am for the growth of VR as a whole and not a particular platform. I want to see the whole thing grow. You said most of the toxicity in the PlayStation community are from the former Xbox fanboys. Yeah. And the Red Ranger, you said it's the fanboys that make us look bad. It is the fanboys why all this noise is still going on. It is because of the fanboys that this latest rhetoric about MLB The Show coming to the Xbox is why this is even erupted. I don't get it. I mean, it's not like the PS4 is over in Japan and you got to go through some means to have it smuggled over here in America and shit like that. Just go to the damn store and buy the shit for $200 or shit, or even less if you can find one on Craigslist. Just buy the damn thing and play the game. Yeah, the console war is over, PLO, but I think a lot of these toxic ass, and I wouldn't even say so much toxic people. A lot of these YouTubers is keeping this shit alive for clicks and views. I don't even know if I want to use the word toxic with them. They just trying to keep this. A lot of these dudes, don't even give a fuck about this console war. They don't even give a fuck about about Xbox winning something. They just constantly screaming rhetoric just so they can get clicks and views. Because one thing I will admit is that a lot of these Xbox YouTubers have a bigger have way more subscribers than PlayStation subscribers. I think out of all the YouTubers that I've seen that is primarily a PlayStation channel, I think Mystic probably has the most subscribers. I think he's got like 150,000 subscribers or some shit like that. I don't know. But there's a lot of Xbox channels out there that have 20, 50, 100, 150,000 subscribers. There's just not that many PlayStation channels out there that have a lot of subscribers like that. Not that I know of. A lot of the PlayStation channels from what I'm seeing got 2, 5, 10,000 subscribers. And I think a lot of them are playing video, they're playing games. And then a lot of the PlayStation community are playing games and they're not caught up in this console war, and they're not chained to YouTube trying to see who says what. A lot of them are just playing games. So I think the last thing that I'll say on this situation with Drive Club, one of the things that I would like to see happen, it might be some fuck move shit, but I think Sony, if they feel that strongly that the game's not, there's not enough people playing the game to keep it alive, hell, take a chance, send the game over to Steam. Sell the game for $5 or $10 on Steam and see what happens there. And if they can get people to play over there on Steam, then maybe you can let the game be crossplay between the PlayStation VR and Oculus and Steam, Oculus and Vive. But I guess that's my last cry to Sony. To try to save this game before they completely pull the plug on it. So there was another racing game that I downloaded this free on Steam called Race Room. It is supposed to support Oculus and Vive, but I can't even find the VR part of it. I can't even find the VR tab. Oh, you know what? Something just dawned on me. So before I go, actually, I'm going to try something, because what I'm finding out on the PC with these racing games, the flat screen version of the game, you can launch it from the desktop. But the VR part of the game, I either have to launch it from the GeForce experience, or you have to launch it from Oculus, or you have to launch it from Steam. So this Drive game that not Drive. Oh, I'm thinking of Race Room. I'm thinking of Race Room. I want to see if the game populated itself into the Oculus library, and if it did, then I'd be able to launch the VR version of the game. So, but when I first launched the game, I could not find a VR tab. So, overdone. Is this this is really worth a topic worth talking about? If you are into VR and you like VR racing games, yes, this is a topic worth talking about, because there's not that many VR racing games out there as far as the multiplayer aspect that works. A lot of them don't work, or they're buggy. And I was telling people that I have Project Cars 2. And when I play this game in VR, if I play the single version of this game, it works. But granted, I cannot stream it. It doesn't matter whether I play single player or multiplayer. I can't stream it from the GeForce experience because it'll crash. But I am finding out that I can play the single version of this game in VR. But when I go over to the multiplayer part of it in VR, as I was saying, I was able to do some warm-up laps, but once the race started, the game crashed. And I also said that I was noticing with some of the bigger YouTubers like Jimmy Broadbent and Slim Sim Racing 604, some of the bigger YouTubers that are big into these racing games, these simulators. I'm finding out that when they do a full race in VR, is usually against the AI. And they're not racing against live competition because it looks like we're just not there yet. It looks to me like the majority of these PCs just cannot handle a VR multiplayer racing game. And Drive Club is one of the few games that can do it, and they're shutting it down. So in that aspect, yes, this is a topic worth talking about to me, because if they were to shut Drive Club down today, I would not have a fully functional VR multiplayer racing game to play. As of right now. Sarah's is great. Have you thought of trying PC port of Alien Isolation in VR? That's something I'll have to take a look at, because Sarah's is great. Tell you the truth, there's a trillion VR games on Steam, and it's like every time I open up the Steam library and go to the VR section, every day I see a game there that I never saw before, that I never knew existed. I mean, hell, there's a bunch of free games at the Oculus library that I didn't know was there. My computer, like, I'm downloading all this shit right now as we speak. But Alien Isolation is, but I'll definitely take a look at it. Overdone. You said like Nintendo shut down Miiverse, making a bunch of Wii U games worthless online, like Mario Maker. But we know that the Wii U didn't sell very well. So, and now that they've moved on to the Switch, hey, it was probably time to shut down some of those games. Now, don't get me wrong. This situation with Drive Club, I understand. It was a double whammy with that game, because number one, that was one of the games that people complained about that was making them sick when the PlayStation VR first launched. And number two, simply put, there's not a lot of people playing the game. I'll be the first one to tell you. It's damn near a ghost town on that game as far as the VR multiplayer goes. I've jumped in and out of lobbies sometimes for as long as 45 minutes before I was able to find somebody to race with. And the rooms are never full. I mean, whenever I finally get lucky enough to find somebody to race with, it might be 2 or 3 people in that room. And then after 1 or 2 races, they leave. So then I'm back to searching for another room. So with that being said, I totally understand why Sony is going to shut it down. This is just me wishful thinking that they don't shut it down, and maybe they could try something like move the game, let the game go to Steam to try to stir up some, try to get some players on there. And if that was the work, then maybe they could let the game be crossplay, with the other headsets. So yeah, basically games come and go. That's nothing new, but sooner or later, I mean, it's easy for you to say this, but sooner or later, when a game that you really, really like, they discontinue support of that game, then yeah, you're probably going to be in a position like me where you're going to be disappointed about it. PLO, the game Drive Club is going to be delisted from the PlayStation Store August 31st, 2019, and they will discontinue online support on March 31st, 2020. So this is a big disappointment to me. Now, believe me, simply put, GT Sport. If GT Sport had online multiplayer, if GT Sport had VR multiplayer, I would not give two fucks about Drive Club getting shut down. But as far as a pure racing game, VR multiplayer, right now, that's all I got. Yeah, the whole game is going to be taken off the store. It's going to be delisted from the store totally. And on March 31st, 2020, all online support will be discontinued. Online support and VR online support will be discontinued. I mean, if you already own the game, you can still play single player, flat screen, and VR, but it's just online support is going to be discontinued. You said PLO, you said GT Sport is going to be one hell of a VR update. It's not going to happen because the developers were the first. This is kind of paraphrasing what the developers said when GT Sport came out and people were asking why it didn't have a VR multiplayer. I think they said something to the effect that it would have been a big mess. They wouldn't have been able to get it. So I mean, they were transparent. They were honest. They said it in so many words. It would have been a fucking mess if they would have tried to do a VR multiplayer with it. So, but my thinking was that hell, the developers over at Drive Club was able to do it. Why can't you do it? I still feel that way right now. He said, El Matador, Sony will make a Horizon type racer. The people from Gran Turismo opened a new studio. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. That the people over at from Polyphony are opening a new studio, and they're going to be making one of these Horizon Forza Horizon type games. Yeah, I get what. Yeah. I remember hearing something like that. Another game that I'd like to see Sony bring back and do it in VR is MotorStorm. That was one of that. I really loved that game on the PlayStation 3, and I think that was along with Killzone 2. MotorStorm, I think, was another one of those games that displayed the power of the PS3. You said probably because the GT developers are damn perfectionists. The very well. Yeah, Al Matador. MotorStorm was lit. And then when they had that Sony 3D TV with the 3D glasses that allowed two people to play on the same screen and without split screen, it's like you put the glasses on. If you're player 2, the whole screen is player 2. You put on player 1 glasses, the whole TV screen is player 1. So both people are playing off of this same TV, but no split screen. That Sony 3D TV, along with the 3D glasses, in my opinion, was ahead of its time. Saris is great. What version of No Man's Sky are you getting for the PC, for the Oculus, or the PS4 version? Saris is great. I have already bought the PC version of No Man's Sky because it was $30 at Steam. The PS4 version of No Man's Sky is $60 right now. So I'm gonna have to do some searching. I'm gonna have to look on Craigslist, GameStop, Walmart to see if they got any of them that they're trying to clear out. But the big thing is, I kind of see a rape coming, because now that has been announced about the No Man's Sky VR update. See, the thing about it is, it's going to be cross-platform, so you're going to be able to play with everybody. PSVR, Vive, Oculus, everybody's going to be able to play, and VR players are going to be able to play with non-VR players. So that is going to make the end user base huge for that game. With VR users and non-VR users being able to play together, and it's cross-play, that's going to make that game huge. With that being said, as far as VR goes, that No Man's Sky announcement might have been a fucking bomb. That was a hydrogen bomb that they dropped. And, that shit set the VR world on fire. And all these retailers probably know it. So they're probably jacking this price back up of No Man's Sky. They're probably jacking the price back up on it, knowing that people are going to be flocking to get this game now that they know that the VR update is coming. But with that being said, if I can find a game for the PSVR, for the PlayStation, anywhere for $20 now, buy it, because I wouldn't mind having it on both formats. Kiyoshe, $10 new at GameStop. If that be the case, I will go check that out tomorrow. And the VR update is free. You do not have to buy a separate version of the game. If you already have the game, when this when the update comes out, it will be implemented in the game. So that's good. That's another good thing. Unlike Bethesda, who are double dipping, fucking people up with Skyrim. You buy the flat screen version of that game for $60. It dried up, and then they reintroduced the game in VR, and then that costs $60. There's no doubt in my mind that they're gonna do that shit with Fallout 76. You're paying $60 for the game right now. Once it dries out, they are probably gonna reintroduce this game, a separate version of the game in VR, rather than give you a VR update. So but Bethesda is gonna be double dipping. So I'm glad No Man's Sky is not doing that shit. He said mom and pop stores will have them cheap if they exist in your area. Believe me, I am going on the hunt to find this game tomorrow for the PlayStation VR, whether it be way of digital code or whatever. If I have to get it from G2A, I will find a way to get this game cheap, because I'm not going to pay $60 for this game. It makes me sick to see something be $30 and then you come back and it's $60. You said you'll get the best experience off the PC version due to your PC and Oculus specs. Yeah, exactly. And I think the PC version is, with the Oculus Rift touch controllers, I think Rift and Vive are going to make the best use of the control scheme on this game. And it's going to be interesting to see what the control scheme is going to be like on the PlayStation VR, being that I'm led to believe that a lot of developers find implementing the Move controllers a hassle. That's the impression that I'm getting. My son's back on Zero Caliber. He has been playing that game all day. I think I found the game that he absolutely loves. He's been spending a lot of time in the gun shop on that game because I think one of the things that makes Zero Caliber different from a lot of these VR first-person shooters on Steam is that you can put attachments on the game. You can grab a gun and put a scope on it. I mean, physically put it on the gun, not put it on in the loadout phase of the game. You can pick a game up, you can pick a gun up, and if you see the scope on the ground, you can physically pick the scope up and attach it to the gun. So I think that's one of the things that makes Zero Caliber cool, and my son seems to love that aspect of the game. He's been playing it all day. Kill Shade, Hello Games is going to release a new physical copy of the game with all the expansions up today on the disc. Yeah, I've heard about that too. That will be cool too. It doesn't really matter to me how I get the game. I just don't want to pay $60 for it. You said No Man's Sky will have the bigger install base if you plan playing it online. Without a doubt, that's my whole point of wanting to get this, of me buying this game. No Man's Sky on clearance at $9.97 at GameStop. Yeah, somebody else said it earlier too, J Dog, that it's $10 at GameStop. So what I'm going to do is, when I get done, probably tomorrow, I'm gonna get up tomorrow and I'll check the surrounding GameStops, and if anyone has it, then I'll drive there and go and get it. So. Woo, that's good. Oh, without a doubt, PLO, those prices are going to climb. Like we said, they dropped a bomb with that VR announcement. Shit, space exploration in VR. Shit. I think the longer you wait to get the game, the more you're going to have to pay for it. Because I think retailers one by one are going to slowly start jacking the prices back up. Might not jack it back up to $60, but they might jack it up to 40. So, I don't want to hear shit about Forza. With that being said, I think I'm gonna get ready to shut it down. And that's pretty much it. I'm, a little bit disappointed that Drive Club's going to be gone as far as the online part of it goes, but I understand. He said the in No Man's Sky online update might also make it closer to an MMO. Yeah. Because basically, with this VR update, what they are saying is that everything you can do in the flat screen version of No Man's Sky, you'll be able to do it in VR. VR multiplayer, everything you can do. Now I think that's huge. Because that's going to be a game in VR that's going to give you hours and hours and hours of gameplay. Because a lot of these VR games, if they're worth anything or they look good, a lot of them are short. Hell, even the Lone Echo that I've been streaming for the past week or so, an amazing looking game. I said that before, the best looking game that I've seen on the VR format, but I think it has about 10 hours of gameplay. No Man's Sky, fully playable in VR, is going to give you, I think it's going to give you more hours than you can count of playtime. You said I think people don't realize how insane that statement is. This is a game, I think No Man's Sky, even with the rocky start that game had, I think this is a game that next year, it will still have a strong, user base, both flat screen and VR. You know what? Now that they're implementing this VR update on No Man's Sky is going to do what all these other games were trying to do with this service-based shit. All this live service bullshit that everybody's trying to do, and trying to find and make a game and try to find a way to keep this game alive, keep their games alive and shit like that. No Man's Sky is going to be that game that's still going to be well and alive a year from now on both the VR side and the flat screen side. Saris is great. You said No Man's Sky is a living universe. It has no end. It's ongoing and evolving. And what you just said right there, Saris is great. Imagine all of that in VR, where the universe never ends and it keeps evolving. That's going to give the game so much replay value years from now. Lunkin, you said No Man's Sky in VR makes me actually want to play it now. Fact of the matter is, Lunkin, I have never played No Man's Sky. I've never played that game, but yet I bought the shit a couple of days ago. on Steam, and I haven't even taken a look at the game yet. I have not looked at the game, and I have no intentions of looking at that game until the VR update comes out. Because all that's gonna do is piss me off. You know, if I go fucking with the game now and see all there is to do on this game, all it's gonna do is make me say, damn, I can't wait for the VR update. So basically all I did was buy the game, and it's a backlog game right now. It will come to the front stage when the when the VR update comes out. So as far as the VR part of it goes, anyway, we got 3 big VR titles that I'm absolutely looking forward to now. We got Iron Man, we got the VR update for No Man's Sky, and we got Blood and Truth. Mr. Pyle, what about Iron Man in VR? Huge. Huge. I absolutely cannot wait for it. You know what? In the announcement of that Iron Man VR is perfect, because that Marvel Alliance that's over on Oculus, I really want to try that game, but I don't want to drop $40 for it. Not only that, I read a lot of reviews that said that the game doesn't really have much of a campaign, and it is very repetitive. And so that stopped me from buying that Marvel game over on Oculus. But I understand this Iron Man game is supposed to be a full game. You know, so to me, full game means campaign. And given Sony's expertise in storytelling, if we have a full game with a campaign with a story, we are going to have an amazing VR game on our hands. I really believe that. What if this Iron Man comes out and it gets a this Iron Man in VR and it gets a Metacritic score of 90? What are the Xbox gonna do? They really gonna lose their fucking mind. Because now if you want to play Iron Man in VR, you gotta have a PlayStation and a PlayStation VR. So you gonna get hit with a double whammy. Keo Shade, I have a little over 600 hours in the game, and once VR comes out, I'm gonna start over again. Hey, like I said, I'm not even going to touch the game until the VR part of it comes out. I don't even want to get started. Not going to touch it. So I'm going to get off here in a little bit and try to figure out. Sarah says, great. I hope you do a live stream on Alien Isolation VR soon. People say in VR mode, it'll give players heart attacks and sound design and immersion. Oh boy. Oh boy. Mr. Pyle, they said Astrobot only got 90 Metacritic score because people don't play VR and want streaming. Any game, flat screen, VR, if it gets a 90 Metacritic score, that to me is amazing. J-Dog, what do you think of Wolfenstein VR Cyberpilot so far by the trailer? It is a game that I'm interested in. Will I buy it? I don't know. But it looks good. He said if a VR game was killing people, VR sales will go up. I think the biggest reason, I think the biggest thing with VR right now is up until now, until Sony made it very affordable. I think it's a niche product that's very expensive. You know, the Oculus Rift is $350 now, and that's the permanent price. And the reason why that is the permanent price is because they are discontinuing the Rift, and it is going to be replaced with the Rift S. And some of the videos that I've seen, those who've, I guess, tried both the Rift and the Rift S, they still think that the Rift would be a better move if, like, well, let's put it this way. What they are saying is that if you already own a Rift, it is not worth getting rid of your Rift for a Rift S. But still, you know, $400 on the Rift S, I think is affordable. It's a decent price. I think $400 for the Oculus Quest is not a bad price, but I think if you wanted to appeal to the mainstream, I think you're probably gonna have to knock that price down to about $300. I think I don't know. I think once the Oculus Quest, if they ever get that price down to $300, I think it is going to sell very well, and they might take what Sony did to the next level and do what Sony did, because it is because of Sony that VR is even in the ears of the mainstream. You know, I think Sony's the biggest reason why anybody who even knows about VR, you know, is privy to it, because of the PlayStation VR, because they are the market leader and they've made it affordable. But you still need a PlayStation. It still needs to be tethered to the PlayStation as of right now. The Oculus Quest, you know, can take all of that to the next level because you don't need a PC, and it's wireless, and you'll be able to carry it wherever you go. It's nothing but the headset and 2 controllers. You can take it with you wherever you want. So believe me, there's going to be a lot of Quest owners who are going to take this to their friend's house over the parties and all kinds of other shit and show it to their friends, and then some of their friends are going to pick up 1 or 2, you know, Quest, whatever the case may be. So I think the Oculus Quest has a chance to take what Sony did and take it to the next level. PLO, $200 permanent price drop needs to happen for PSVR. Sales would double by the end of the year. Exactly. And that's another reason why I think that it would have been nice if they would have introduced the PlayStation VR alongside the console itself back in 2013, because it would have had a few more years to grow. You have to keep in mind that the console came out in 2013 and then the PlayStation VR came out in 2016, you know, 3 years later. So with that being said, you know, the PlayStation VR has been out 2.5 years. They're sitting on 4.2 million sold, which is disappointing to me because I thought they should have been at 5 million by now. I wouldn't doubt that they're probably at 5 million shipped, because even though they probably sold 4.2 million, I would like to think that there's at least 800,000 headsets still sitting on store shelves across the globe. So they probably shipped 5 million by now. Why Sony hasn't said that, if they have, why they haven't announced it, is a little bit puzzling. You thought they would at least announce that, because Microsoft is so fucking petty with their numbers. They'll give you numbers sold that, you know, whenever they do good, they'll give you the numbers sold, the numbers shipped, the numbers manufactured, how many of them got a serial number stamped on it. They'll give you all those fucking numbers if they think those numbers are good. You know, Microsoft gives you a fuckload of petty numbers. Yeah, I see that PSVR sold more than the X, but I think anybody who brought up that comparison to begin with is an idiot, because you're comparing a console to a peripheral. That's like to me, that's like comparing sales of a car to sales of custom wheels that you buy for the car, because the wheels are custom. Of course, you should not be selling more custom wheels than the amount of cars that's been made. The Xbox One X is a car. The PlayStation VR are the custom wheels that you add to the car. So to make that kind of comparison is idiotic. I mean, with the PlayStation VR, with the PlayStation 4, there's about 100 million of them out there. And there's about 4.2 million set of custom wheels for those PlayStations. That number is supposed to be like that. It's still a little disappointing that it's not higher than me, but that's what those numbers are supposed to be. So for anybody to compare a car to the custom wheels that goes on that car is imbecilic. You said PSVR will be supported into the PS5 life. They won't release a PSVR 2 until it can be sold for cheaper than the original PSVR released at. I could definitely agree with that. You know, I've heard a couple of rumors come out a couple of times that they thought that the PlayStation VR 2 could possibly launch at $300, which I think would be huge. But I honestly think it might. I think it might end up launching at about $400 to tell you the truth. Because I think Sony probably does want to stay away from that $500 price tag. But you know, rumors had it be, you know, before that money that Sony is getting from PlayStation Now could subsidize the PlayStation 5, and I hope that it can subsidize the PlayStation VR as well. He is still playing that Zero Caliber. He's been playing that all day. That's cool though, because I bought that PlayStation VR for him for Christmas, and it was a little bit of a disappointment that he wasn't playing it that much. But whenever he does find something that he likes on the VR that he plays for hours, it makes me happy. So. Mr. Pyle, they say the X has more power, so PSVR should come to the Xbox. A better question is they should be asking Microsoft, why didn't they follow through with their VR plans for the high fidelity VR that they promised everybody on this 6.4 teraflops of power? Razi, you said no, the PS Now is the least performing. Maybe now, but I know that there was a while back when they showed a graph a while back that the PlayStation Now was commanding the market as far as game streaming goes. It was outperforming Game Pass. Mr. Pyle, Iron Man should not be locked to one console. Oh, goodness. You said what a mess Xbox has been this generation. Well, I think I've run out of things to talk about. Guess I'll have a quick look at N4G. Uh-oh, PlayStation Store now holding March Madness sale. Yeah, there it is right there on N4G. All Drive Club content will be delisted from PSN in August. Here's an article. It says Google Stadia will likely fail. Here are 5 reasons why. And I'll get around to reading that at some point. Oh, you know what? I need to go back and look at that. Speaking of Hellblade, I think that game is in VR on Steam. Just a minute. If it is on Steam, at some point, I will get it. Let me pull this up real quick. Yeah. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, VR edition. Yes. Yes. Yes, a VR version of Hellblade. Full controller support. Oh, 30, and it's $30. Well, shit. I might go ahead and scoop that up. I will scoop that up. I just might have to give myself some breathing room real quick because there's so many doggone games at the Steam store. Shit, and I thought those PlayStation flash sales was breaking my damn back. Steam is breaking my back too. You said Preston Gaines, you wish you could send me a picture of the PC I'm getting. Send it to me on Twitter. Just a minute, I'll put my Twitter in the chat. All right. There you go, Preston Games. That's my Twitter right there. So just follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back, and I'll just DM me the picture of the PC. Yes. Like I said, between Steam and the PlayStation Store having these flash sales, my back stayed broke. They, I think that's that line that Sick used in that PlayStation Plus podcast. My wallets can't take no more. Yeah, they breaking my damn back. But hey, make no mistake. 2018 was a great year for gaming for me. Sony put out some great games last year. I mean, even in 2017 with the Uncharted Lost Legacy, they put out some great games in 2017. They did a great job last year, and they're doing a great job this year. And I think, with me getting on board with PC gaming and then getting the Oculus Rift, I think 2019 stands to be the most enjoyable year for me as far as gaming goes. Between the PSVR, the Oculus Rift, PS4 exclusives, and flat screen gaming on the PC, I think 2019 could be one of the most fun years that I've ever had. So I know I said it about 15 minutes ago, whatever the case may be. I was going to get out of here, but I guess I can't seem to shut up. But I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. This was only supposed to be about a half-hour podcast, but hey, I'm glad you guys stuck around. I'm glad I enjoyed everybody in the chat. A lot of you guys said a lot of interesting stuff. You guys kept the conversation going, so I definitely appreciate that. You guys know what to do. Give it a like. Share, comment, all that good stuff. And I don't know whenever my son turns this PC loose, or I might go ahead and jump on over the firewall. But I'll stream something tonight. I don't know what time, but I will. I promise I will stream something. I don't know what, and I don't know when, but I will stream something tonight. So be on the lookout for me then. And if I'm streaming something on the PlayStation VR, make sure y'all jump in the chat, kick it with me. Talk to me. Let's hang out. All that good stuff. With that being said, Stream Secure. I don't have that game yet. I talked about that earlier today on Live from Wakanda, and I'm being brutally honest. I think Sekiro looks like a good-looking game, and to me, it looks like a warm-up for Ghost of Tsushima. God, my throat is so scratchy. Ghost of Tsushima. Sekiro looks like a warm-up for that game. It looks like a good-looking game that I'm really interested in, but the fact of the matter is it would end up being a backlog game right now because of how much games that I'm playing on the VR right now. Hell, I bought MLB The Show, which everybody knows is one of my favorite games. And I haven't even played that yet. I bought that game. I turned it on for 5 minutes just so I could see what the graphics look like, and then that was it. I haven't come back to it yet because I've been playing so much VR stuff. That's where I'm at right now. And so with that being said, if I go off and I don't want to drop $60 for that Sekiro game for it to be a backlog game. So what I was telling everybody that I might do, I could even possibly go out and rent it tonight. If I do that, then yes, I could possibly stream it possibly tomorrow. But for the most part, the plan is to wait until the game comes down in price. Not because of me being a cheap bastard or anything like that. I just don't want to drop $60 for a game that's going to be a backlog game. What's my PSN? It's yeah, just a minute. That is my PSN right there, PLO. Now, be warned, if you send me a friend request, make sure you attach a note to it. Let me know your YouTube name, because everybody's YouTube name is different from their, from the PSN name. And I'm starting to get friend requests all over the place, and I'm only responding to the ones that have a note attached to it, like, hey, hey, this is PLO from YouTube. If I see something like that, then yeah, I'll accept the friend request. Just a minute here. Oh, god damn, Preston. Shit. That computer right there. What the fuck is that? Let me see. That thing looks like it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fans, and it looks like it's water cooled. Damn. Hold on a second. Before I go, Preston, hold on. Let me show you my PC. All right, I'm gonna share my screen with you. I'm gonna share my screen with everybody. Hold on. What the fuck is going on? There we go. That's one picture of my PC right there, Preston. Hold on, and let me give you the disco. Let me give you the disco show right there. Look at that keyboard lit the fuck up, and the lighted keyboard and the lighted mouse.
Oh, and the lighted controller.
Yeah, but they can't see the lighted controller in that background. They my PS4, that orange light in the background, that is my PS4 in rest mode. Yeah, disco lights. Disco shit.
Let me see it. Even though I've already seen the picture before.
Mm-hmm. Look at Arsenic. Arsenic said, be careful with the PC pics. You don't want Z copying them and claiming them as his own in a year or two.
Wait, who's Z?
You talking about Zaire.
Oh.
I guess he pulled some old crap. I think he took a picture of somebody else's PC and posted it and claimed it was his.
Okay.
Yeah, a PLO, that PC, it's got a Ryzen, I think 2700 processor. It's got a RTX 2070 GPU, 16 gigs of RAM. So it's a decent PC. Let me see here. Let me follow you back, Preston. Hold on a second, because I got a couple of alerts. All right. So I followed you back. And I'm assuming this is your friend request here at PLO. I'm looking at it right now, but it's taking a second to come up on my phone. Yep, there. This is PLO from YouTube. Add to friends. Hey, turn it down. Okay, there we go. We're friends now. Am I ever going to play Fortnite or Grand Theft Auto 5? I've got Grand Theft Auto. I don't play either one of those games. Simply put, because they're not in VR. If Fortnite was in VR or Grand Theft Auto was in VR, I'd play it. Now, from what I'm hearing, Justin, Drive Club is shutting down. If you bought the game, the single player, you're still good with the single player, but the online support, they'll be shutting it down. It's going to be decommissioned next year, March 31st, 2020. They will discontinue online support. They will discontinue online support for VR as well. They will discontinue online support for the bike portion of the game. So all VR modes across the board will be shut down. And that is an issue to me because there's not very many VR racing games multiplayer. There's a lot of racing games out there that support VR, but there's not too many of them that support multiplayer VR that works right. He said Grand Theft Auto. I guess somebody like on Facebook mentioned something about some VR mod for Grand Theft Auto on Steam or something like that. And I'm like, I don't believe it. I think the shit was fake. So I'm not even bothering looking into it. But yeah, that would be huge. You know what, PLO, you just said something right there that just got my attention. Excuse me. LA Noire is on Steam in VR. LA Noire is in VR. With that being said, next generation, when they have the hardware that can do it, maybe possibly look for Rockstar to introduce Grand Theft Auto 5 as well as Red Dead Redemption 2 in VR. It could happen. That's not too far of a stretch. Said Justin, I have over 200 VR games. I only play VR. I want LA Noire for PSVR. Yeah, as of right now, Steam is the only place you can get it. Hey. Well, no, let me not say that. I started to jump the gun again. But I mean, it's out there. Yeah, No Man's Sky is definitely a game changer. Preston Games, I took a look at the VR chat once, and I don't know. I think I went into a room where nobody was at. I was just looking around the room and was nothing going on. I think I was the only one in there. But I will definitely take a look at it again. PLO, Grand Theft Auto VR releases. VR sales go up 300%. I wouldn't doubt it. Because, in my opinion, a lot of people who play Grand Theft Auto want to be a thug from the safety of their home. You know, they don't want to go out there and do a drive-by on somebody. They don't want to go out there and rob a bank for real. But they would love to be able to do that, but they can do that shit. Grand Theft Auto allows them to do that shit from the safety of their home. Now, imagine being able to do that shit in VR. Imagine being able to walk into a store in VR and pull a gun on the gun owner and tell them to empty out that cash register. You know, I mean, yeah, Grand Theft Auto in VR would be huge. I mean, that might be even bigger news than No Man's Sky being in VR. Ski. What you got? Okay. Preston, you said my VR is VR ready, so it's going to be dope. Fair warning though, Preston. When you go to Steam to buy a game, make sure you look at the system requirements before you jump up and buy a game. A lot of these games only require you to have 8 gigs of RAM, but there are some games out there where you need 16. Yeah, PLO, you said the first person was crazy enough. Imagine VR, that would be insane. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto in VR, that would be a game changer. If they did Grand Theft Auto in VR, I think I would never get my PC or my PlayStation back because my cell would probably be on them nonstop. So, but being at this, hey, before I go, Preston, how much is this computer? How much is this computer you gonna buy? Let me take a look at that picture you sent me one more time. So it's got a GTX 1060, 8 gigs of RAM, a Core i5. So, yeah, Preston, if you're still here, how much is that PC? Justin, you said Borderlands 2 VR is getting all DLC, adds 50 hours. That I know about, but don't quote me on this. But it seemed like I thought somebody on YouTube said something to the effect that all DLC might be free for the summer. So don't quote me on that. But you know, I guess it's not really going to make that much of a difference in my case since I barely played Borderlands 2. I have the game. But I guess the DLC, oh, it's free? Cool. All right, then. So I wasn't crazy. Still, though, I'd be a fool not to jump on it, though. You know, Borderlands 2 is going to be another backlog game, but yeah, go ahead and DM me. Based on those specs, that PC you sent me, I would have to make a guess that the PC is probably going to cost anywhere between $800 and $1,000. Said, oh man, I love that game. My first time playing was in VR. Now with aim support, absolutely. Yeah, the aim controller definitely makes it better, without a doubt. I mean, the move controllers was weird. Man, so many VR games out there. You know, at the Oculus store, there's a few free-to-play games that I've downloaded that I'll have to check out. It looks like my son trying to play both sides of the fence. He running back and forth into the bedroom playing his Nintendo Switch and then running back out here jumping on the Oculus. So he trying to gate that Oculus off from me. Said if VR is like comic book came to life. I agree. Honor and Duty D-Day is good. It is good, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm not interested in playing it because of those Minecraft looking graphics. Speaking of Minecraft, get this. I just downloaded Minecraft for Oculus in VR. It supports Oculus and it's free. Minecraft in VR, free at the Oculus store. So I'm going to take a look at that too. Minecraft, I could give two shits less about that game, but VR adds another dimension to that game. So I think it's something that my son is going to be interested in playing because he was a big fan of Minecraft for a while. So I'm definitely going to take a look at that Minecraft in VR. I mean, I downloaded a bunch of free to play games that look interesting. So again, more games than I could count in VR. Okay. All right. All right, Preston. I got your friend request. You said you get pissed when people claim the VR is just mini games. It would, for those who don't know, they would have. I can't blame them for thinking that way because when the PlayStation VR first came, when it first launched, a lot of those games were tech demos and a lot of them were mini games. I think Resident Evil was the only full playable game on the PlayStation VR. I think that was the one like AAA title that was fully playable in VR. You had games like Batman that was, I think, was a high quality game, but that was way too short. You can run through that entire campaign in an hour. So I can't blame people for thinking that, you know, a lot of these VR games is mini games and tech demos and shit. But I think we're moving. But now, you know, you can see that we're moving further away from that we're going to start getting bigger and better experiences, according to Sony. And I mean, we're already headed in that direction right now because look how big that No Man's Sky announcement was. You're going to get a fully playable game with countless hours of replay value in VR. So No Man's Sky could definitely be huge in boosting VR sales. With it being crossplay, it doesn't matter what kind of headset you want. You'll be able to join in. It doesn't matter, you know, Vive, Oculus, or PSVR. It doesn't matter which headset you get. You'll be able to join in on the fun. So I think, again, you know, I think No Man's Sky is going to be huge for the growth of VR. You heard Crap and Mooch say VR is niche. Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, yes, you could say that in the beginning. A couple of years ago, yes, it was niche and it was an expensive niche. But now with the PlayStation VR making VR affordable and Oculus getting ready to make their move on the mainstream with the Oculus Quest and Vive making a similar headset that the Vive is making, I think it gives you a choice. You could play it just like the Oculus Quest on the go, or you could plug it into a PC. It's your choice. So with that being said, VR is growing. And not only that, VR is one of the best ways to show technological advances. I mean, I think there's HP makes a VR headset that has a 1440p resolution. And I guess this VR is, you know, I guess you wear some kind of backpack, and this VR is being used in businesses, you know, for meetings and that kind of shit. So VR is definitely growing. It's just, to me, it's just a matter of when devices like the Vive, the Oculus, and the PSVR become affordable. And again, Kuhn, what Oculus is about to do with the Oculus Quest, it is a huge risk, but it is a huge move. It is a huge move for the growth of VR. If the Oculus Quest catches on to the mainstream, that's going to be huge. I mean, I would have got on board myself even before the PlayStation VR came out. I would have loved to gotten on board with VR, but I wasn't trying to spend $700 for a headset and drop $1,000 for a PC. The fact of the matter is that even still, I think you need, I think for a PC to be able to run an Oculus or a Vive, I think the PC is going to cost a minimum of $900. What's up, PlayStation Ghoul? I mean, I paid, you know, my PC was $1,400. I got it on sale for $100 off. And it's got that RTX 2070 in it. I'm seeing PCs that have 1060s in them that still cost $1,000. So it looks to me like, the prices of VR headsets like Oculus and Vive, those headsets are coming down, but you still need a PC. In my opinion, it costs at least $900 to be able to properly run these headsets. In comes PlayStation. They made it a plug and play device, and now it's affordable. And now Oculus is about to take it to the next level where you can get a PC. You can get a PC-like experience in VR without the PC. Yeah, PLO, price is huge. Now, from what I understand, these Oculus Rifts, now that they knocked them down to a permanent price of $350, have been flying off the shelves. You can't get them. They're hard as fuck to get them. And that's only going to be for a limited time because they're discontinuing the Rift, to replace it with the Rift S. Both me and Sick, the first time we looked into trying to get an Oculus, the first time we looked, they were sold out. And the day that I post that video where I bought that Oculus Quest, that was just a shot in the dark. I went to the Best Buy website. They said they had a limited number of them. So I jumped in the car, cooked them tires, and got the Best Buy in a hurry. Yeah. But I am quite happy with the purchase. Make no mistake about it. What do we got at 7 o'clock? Yeah, I'm off till Wednesday. Yeah, I got a few more days to enjoy myself. So you just DM me the price on Twitter. Okay, hold on a second. It hasn't come through yet. Oh shit. Oh shit. Ian, I saw your tweet in the Roundtable podcast. Oh shit. All right, but I haven't seen that DM yet, Preston, but I'll keep my eyes open for it. Yep, there you go. Just played some Switch. Now he's about to jump back on the Oculus again. So, all right, that's it, y'all. My voice is getting scratchy. I'm about to get the hell on out of here. But before I go, hey, make sure you tune into the Usual Suspects tomorrow. If Sick Humor does the PlayStation Plus podcast, make sure you guys tune into that. Make sure you tune into the PlayStation Legion tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. And make sure you tune into Royal Flush Gaming tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check out all those podcasts. Those are all good podcasts. If you end up checking out the Any Given Sunday podcast with Heartache, then that's cool. I mean, I don't know him personally, so that's why I didn't go out of my way to promote that. But PlayStation Plus podcast, PlayStation Legion, Winning Hand podcast. Make sure you guys check those out tomorrow at those times that I announced. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Make sure you guys give it a like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in a little while when I do some kind of stream. I will holler at y'all later. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.